Have you ever been having a laid-back, relaxing moment watching one of your favorite shows when all of a sudden one of the characters starts doing the exact same thing? Me too. But why do writers do this? Are they just flexing how creative they are that they're able to make up a show within a show? Or is there more to it than that? Join me as we attempt to figure this out and explore some of my favorite examples of media in media.
Sumo Slammer cards, cool!
Sumo Slammers is a multimedia franchise that exists within the world of the legendary Cartoon Network show Ben 10. It comprises video games, TV shows, movies, comic books, trading cards, action figures, and even MP3 players. That was a mouthful. Sumo Slammers is so integral to the character of Ben Tennyson that it was introduced in the second episode of the very first season.
I'm sure you all want to thank me personally, but really it's all in a day's work for... No way! A gold Sumo Slammer card!
Throughout the series, Sumo Slammers would continue to make several appearances in the original and even the sequel shows, and Ben would remain as obsessed as ever with the action-packed franchise.
Ben, now I can appreciate how much this card means to you, but don't you think you're getting a little obsessed?
The fuck you say to me?
And I feel this played a huge role in humanizing Ben and making him more relatable to the young boys watching on the other side of the screen. Me personally, as a kid, I was obsessed with Ben 10 and I would have done anything to get my hands on any of the action figures, especially the watch. Even though I knew it wasn't going to turn me into an alien, I still wanted to slap my wrist and go,
It's hero time!
This shit means something to me, man.
And that made it all the more special when I saw Ben gushing over Sumo Slammers, because it made me feel like he was just like me. And I know this was an intentional decision from the writers because the Ben 10 action figures are practically what made it a billion-dollar franchise. And also, the Sumo Slammers franchise encapsulates most of the interests that boys Ben's age would have been into. Toys, video games, trading cards, comic books, all of that. And it allowed them to explore these passions of young boys without having to get licenses from the popular toys or video games that were all the rage at the time. The writers just made their own in-universe franchise that could cater to all of these interests, and we got Sumo Slammers, a franchise that admittedly would make any 10-year-old boy a super fan. Also, as a fun throwaway, my favorite episode of Ben 10 that features Sumo Slammers is in episode 6 of season 3, where Ben and Gwen get trapped in a Sumo Slammers video game and have to beat it to escape. That was peak cinema.
Anyway, we were talking about horsing around. To what do you attribute the show's wide appeal?
Bojack Horseman, an amazing show, although I only saw it once. What I want to talk about specifically is the show in the show called Horsing Around, starring Bojack as a single dad who takes in these 3 orphans and showers them with love. And what's interesting about this show is kind of like how it contrasts to Bojack's actual childhood, where in the show Horsing Around, these orphans are showered with love, and any little or huge mistake they make is met with compassion and understanding and forgiveness. Where in Bojack's actual childhood, his parents were very aggressive and toxic and just in general abusive to Bojack. And it was just weird to see someone who came from such a horrible childhood now put on a happy face and act on screen and oh hey, look at me, I'm a loving father and I love all these children. And even behind the scenes you could see that Bojack didn't really care too much for Sarah Lynn or all the other cast members. He still just kind of cared about himself. So sometimes it's just weird, you're oh yeah, it's true, this actor I really like that seems cool in these roles might actually just be a dick in real life, or might have gone through something horrible, but you won't really see it behind the screen. There's a disconnect. Something that was also interesting about it was the fact that even his mother found comfort in the show too. She didn't like her son, but she was I like this show. This show makes me feel happy, which is just I don't know what to say about that. So I guess it was kind of an escape of reality. You have the show Horsing Around where everything seems happy and the way it should be, where people can be loved and understood, in contrast to the reality where everything is bleak sometimes and sad, and even though you have that's another thing too, because they're orphans and they found love in this new home. I think there was a particular episode where Sarah Lynn in the show was complaining about how she still missed her parents, but she was happy where she was with her newfound family. And Bojack in real life still had both his parents but was never loved there.
Miss Lemon, I just want to let you know, you're on the monitors right now.
Everyone can
Hear you and see you. Yes, ma'am.
son of a mother.
30 Rock is a satirical sitcom that centers on a young Liz Lemon, who is like the main character of the show and also the current head writer for the live sketch comedy show in New York. 30 Rock just revolves around the cast and the crew of this fictional sketch comedy show called The Girly Show with Tracy Jordan. 30 Rock first aired on the National Broadcasting Company network and is ran from 2006 to 2013. It was created by Tina Fey. Fun fact about Tina Fey is like she was once a writer and a performer for SNL, so you know the show is really peak. The Girly Show with Tracy Jordan is a fictional live sketch comedy show. It's just like a sketch show with the recurring characters, the songs, the absurd beats, but in practice it is very chaotic, it is inconsistent and constantly at risk of collapsing. Every episode I think they're going to cancel the show entirely, but it's so funny. In 30 Rock, The Girly Show with Tracy Jordan isn't just like a made-up TV show, but it's a fictional show that anchors 30 Rock's plot. So it drives character interaction because they're always on set, so they have to interact with one another, and allows the series to satirize television and entertainment culture while still delivering its comedy. Without The Girly Show with Tracy Jordan, there would be no 30 Rock. It is where the identities of the cast are constructed, maintained, and recently shattered. The Girly Show mirrors 30 Rock itself. So just like Liz, Tina Fey is running a show inside a network system where she has to balance the jokes, the stars, and the executive. So in a way, The Girly Show is like a meta commentary, a fake show that is used to tell the very real story of what it's like making comedy under pressure. It kind of shifts the focus from comedy a little bit to more of like labor, authorship, institutional control, and reveal what happens when art and commerce collide, which is inevitably chaos.
The Boy in the Iceberg is a play that exists within the world of Nickelodeon's hit classic, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It comes up in episode 17 of season 3, and you know what? Why don't I let Sokka tell you guys about it?
The Boy in the Iceberg is a new production from acclaimed playwright Poo-on Tim, who scoured the globe gathering information on the Avatar.
The episode is called The Ember Island Players and is named after the fictional people that produced the play. Now this personally isn't one of my favorite episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it's a great example of media in media. Because here, the play essentially turns what would have otherwise been a filler episode where nothing significant to the plot happens into a very introspective one. Not for us, the viewers, but for the characters who are essentially watching themselves. And it's a very interesting and funny episode because of this. The crew initially start the play very excited to see themselves being portrayed on stage, but that doesn't last too long, as the play's portrayal becomes a little too honest for our characters. Aang's insecurities are shoved right into his face by an actor who he feels doesn't represent him accurately enough.
That's not what I'm like, and I'm not a woman!
And the others visibly cringe at some of the decisions that they had made up until that point as they are blasted right back at them on the big stage, with Zuko being hit the hardest. Zuko, who was once the main villain of season 1, had gone through an amazing character journey and had now become Aang's firebending teacher. But this play forced him to relive all of the bad decisions that he made in the earlier seasons. And although he didn't realize it, the fact that he felt as bad as he did was proof of just how much he had changed. And Toph points out to him how proud his uncle is of him. Then he gets accused of not having an accurate cosplay despite being the source material.
Your Zuko costume's pretty good, but your scar's on the wrong side.
The fuck you say to me?
The play eventually catches up to the events of the show, but to the surprise of the characters and us the viewers, it keeps on going and things take an interesting turn.
Wait, the play's not over.
But it is over. Unless this is the future.
In a duel against his sister Azula, Zuko is killed and Aang is defeated by Fire Lord Ozai, who subsequently takes over the world. And to the horror of the characters and us the viewers, the audience cheers loudly, reminding us that we are indeed in Fire Nation territory and have just witnessed a prime example of propaganda. The Ember Island Players is a very interesting take on a recap episode, and this is made possible because of the Boy in the Iceberg play, which not only reminds the characters and the viewers of the journey that they had been on for the past 3 seasons, but also the reason for the journey and the consequences of losing. The play also serves as a good tool for world building, as it reminds us that to all the other nations, the Fire Nation is a terrifying world power, but to the Fire Nation, they are the heroes. The concept of media in media is one that I've always found very interesting, whether it's Mr. Rager from Intergalactic or the adventures of
Mermaid Man and and Barnacle Boy!
And as for why the concept of media in media exists, a lot of the time, artists do just be watching a lot of TV. And it's always interesting to see how this is implemented into the shows that they make. And I hope you found it interesting as well. Thanks for watching me and my friends yap about this concept, and I'll see you next week.